What's up, beauties? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany, and on this channel we journey through my life as a stay-at-home mom and a military wife. And over here we prioritize motherhood and self-care, okay? But in this video we are going to talk about deployment and some of the things that I did and I think you should do as well. And just to give you a little bit of advice on what you can do or should do when your husband is on deployment. All right, if that's something that you're interested in, just keep watching. All right, beauties, so I have a list of 10 things that I did and I would recommend that you do as well to try to get through a deployment. Deployments can be very, very rough to get through, especially if you have kids, especially if you are away from family and you are like us, we are overseas, we are living in Japan, so we don't have any family here and very minimal friends, I guess you would say. So getting through a deployment can be very difficult. You know, we have 3 kids and you know, it's not easy. So, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into some of the things that has helped me get through our last deployment and some of the deployments that we've had in the past. Now I have my laptop right here because I do want to make sure that I stay on topic and on task. Okay, it's 10 things, girl. So look, we want to make sure we cover everything. So I do have my laptop here. If you see me looking here, that's why. But all right, let's go ahead and hop into number 1. So the number 1 tip that I would give you is to make sure that you surround yourself with a group of people that you like. A community, if you will. This community could be a group of women that you go to church with, other military spouses. This group of people could be a local support group of some kind. If you have friends or family in the area, make sure that you are staying close to them during this time because you know, it can become very lonely. And the reason why I said a group of people that you like is because you don't want to be hanging out with a group of people while your husband is away with a group of people that you really tolerate or don't really like that well. You know what I mean? You don't want to just be tolerating people. So you want to make sure that you get into a community or hang out with friends or family if they are nearby that you like and you love and you enjoy being around. Somebody that can support you during this time, however long your spouse is going to be gone. Sometimes it could be 2 weeks, sometimes it could be up to 10 months or a year, you know. So whatever time frame that looks like, you want to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who keep your spirits high and that are understanding and that are supportive to your situation. Okay, so number 2 is stay busy and productive, okay? And I like to do this by focusing on things that are personal goals for myself, you know. So this is a great time for you to focus on some things that you've always wanted to do for yourself. If you wanted to lose 10 pounds, this will be a great opportunity for you to join the gym, join a group class, you know, something that will allow you to be productive. If you always wanted to sew a blanket or, you know, try out a new hobby, this is a time for you to do those things, a time where you can pour back into yourself, and this is a time where you can turn inward a little bit. You know, of course you have to take care of your kids if you have kids, or the dog or the cat or your pets, but this is an opportunity for you to really focus on yourself and allow yourself to have some time for self-care, whether that looks like taking yourself out on a solo date. That's something that I incorporated into our last deployment that I look forward to doing even now that my husband is back home, is having those solo dates. Take yourself out to lunch, read a book or get into a book club. If there's a certain novel that you've been interested in, you've always wanted to read that novel but you haven't really had the opportunity to, if you've always wanted to do something adventurous and if it's within reason, you know, this is the time to do that. So set some personal goals for yourself and prioritize yourself. Self-care and wellness is going to be key during this deployment, and this is the opportunity and the time for you to do it. Okay, so number 3 is to maintain open communication with your spouse. And this could not be more important, because an emotional connection is super important while your partner is on deployment, not only for you but for them as well, you know. So you're in this together. This deployment is for, you know, it's both of you guys. So you're in it together. You're holding down your front. Then you want to make sure that you are doing your part, holding it down by emailing them, texting them if you can, calling them if you can, in which calling them is probably going to be very unlikely unless, you know, you're in a situation where my husband, when he was off the ship, he could call me and I could call him. But majority of the time I would allow him to call me, and I made sure that I let him know how important it is and how, you know, important it was to me to hear from him and to expect his phone calls, you know. And that was something that I look forward to. That was something that the kids look forward to. It was something that helped the time go by quicker, and just hearing from him during those days or weeks that continue to go on, you know, just hearing from him during the time that he was gone, it just really filled in the gap, because of course I missed him a ton, but you know, being able to email him and know about his day, for him to know about my day, for him to know what the kids did, and to keep him in the loop, it really helped with the time and the emotional connection and the bond that we continue to have while he was on deployment. And shout out to FaceTime. Listen, I don't know how things were back in the day. Well, I guess back in the day, you know, you had to write letters, send a pigeon. I don't know, girl. But FaceTime is amazing. Thank God for FaceTime, because I can actually see my husband when he's on the ship or when he's off the ship, when time permits, when Wi-Fi permits, you know. And it's such a great way to connect. I can see his face. I can see the emotions on his face. If he's sad, if he's happy, if he's worried, if he's whatever, you know, I can see him and connect with him in that way, and you know, vice versa. So shout out to FaceTime. Thank you. All right, so number 4 is taking care of your mental health. So this is really important. This comes it kind of goes hand in hand with prioritizing yourself, but particularly I want to speak to mental health. When your partner goes on deployment, it is a big blow to your emotions, to your dynamic. It shifts things completely, and I just want you to not be afraid to reach out to get help while your partner is on deployment, whether that is going to talk to a therapist, a counselor, someone at your church, someone that you know that is a professional that can help you. Talking to a friend is cool, but I'm talking about talking to a professional will be very, very helpful during this time. I do telehealth with my therapist, and I make sure that I start having a conversation with her before Tony goes on deployment. We set up our first, well, this is typically what I do, is I set up my therapy session like a week or two before he leaves, to kind of start going into the deployment, start preparing myself for the deployment, because there are a lot of emotions that come up as well with preparing for your partner to leave. You know what I mean? So all of that anxiety too needs to be sorted out and shifted and all those things. So intended to, you know, so reaching out to a therapist or a counselor or someone who is a professional could be very helpful before, during, and after the deployment. So I would highly recommend that you look into that. I know they have things like BetterHelp these days. This is not a partnership with BetterHelp, but this is just a plug, you know, of what my husband has used them before. Since we are overseas, you know, he's used BetterHelp before, but I had my therapist before we got here, so she was just able to continue to do telehealth with me, you know, once we moved to Japan. So, but that's something that I highly recommend. Keep your mental health a priority while your partner is away. If you need to journal, if you need to consult with a friend or talk to a friend, do what you can until you can get some professional help. But I highly, highly, highly recommend, I cannot stress this enough, have some professional help on deck while your partner is on deployment. All right, so moving right along to number 5 is staying organized. Okay, so making sure that things are in order, whether that is paperwork, whether that is a power of attorney, whether that might be your schedule. Making sure that you are organized in all of your affairs is going to be very important. I cannot tell you, living here in Japan on a military installation, how many people go on deployment without a POA, and that stands for power of attorney. And honestly, your partner can't do anything on the base without that power of attorney. Okay, so make sure that you have all of the affairs that you need to have in place before your partner goes on deployment, whether that might be things that he may need, there are things that you may need, any type of like scheduling or appointments that you have to make. Make sure that you kind of iron out and sort out all of those things before he or she leaves. Okay, so number 6 is involve the children. Okay, so for me, what I like to do is I like to keep my kids busy. I don't like to do a countdown because I feel like when you focus on the number, they're like, oh, we have 65 more days until daddy comes, or we have 4 more weeks until daddy comes. I like to keep my countdown at the end, not at the beginning. At the beginning of the deployment, I like to keep them busy in some type of activity, some type of camp. This last summer, my husband was on deployment, so we did a lot of summer camps. We did things together, just me and the kids, with other families, us by ourselves. My aunt came to visit, so I took the kids to the beach. And so just trying to involve them into some fun activities and keep their minds off of the fact that their dad was gone is what I like to do. I don't really like to do a countdown too soon. Now I do a countdown like the last 2 weeks, or the last week. I'm like, okay, daddy will be here in 7 days. I can kind of keep up with 7 days. But having a kid ask me, Mom, we have 50 more days, or we have 4 more weeks, or we have 5 more weeks, like that, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. So yeah, so that's what I like to do with the kids, is keep them busy, keep them active, but also keep them involved in letting them know that, hey, your dad is away, he misses you, and he'll be home soon. Comfort them whenever they are missing him, for sure. Show them pictures of him, have them write him some letters whenever they're missing him. They did like these little cards, or sometimes holidays come up. Oftentimes there will be a holiday in the middle of, or 2 or 3 in the middle of your deployment, and you can have your kids make a card for whatever that holiday is, whether that's a birthday or Father's Day, Mother's Day, or whatever. So that's always really, really cute. Okay, so number 7 is having a positive mindset, and this I cannot stress enough because it gets rough during the deployment, and it gets lonely, like I said in the, previously. But just staying positive about the deployment is going to be your best bet. Try not to get to a space where you're thinking negatively about, what your partner is doing, or where they are, or their mission, or something like that. And just trying to stay in a positive headspace. But again, this is where your community, your professional help, your support system is going to come in to help you out with these things. And also your personal goals and your personal tasks that you do for yourself will also help you stay in a positive mindset. So if you need to put some affirmations around the house or journal just to keep yourself into a positive mindset, that's going to be really, really important, is to stay positive. Try not to get into a negative mindset while you're on deployment, because it's only going to make it longer and it's only going to make it worse. Okay, so number 8 is setting up childcare if you need to. So this is something that is really important for me, is I would like to make sure that I have a few babysitters on deck that I trust. And I'm not even gonna say a few. A few is a reach. That is a reach. Okay, a few is a reach, because I don't really trust a whole lot of people with our kids. So I have a good solid one and a backup for like babysitting if I want to go out and, you know, have dinner by myself, or if somebody invites me somewhere. I have childcare set up for my kids if it's like not during school. But again, that's where their summer programs come in, because I can send them to a summer program, and then during the day I can, you know, go to lunch with a friend and have some adult connection. But I like to do all of these things ahead of time so that I'm not scrambling during the deployment, you know. And granted, things do happen and things change where it's like, okay, you had something set up and it fell through, but that's, you know, you'll get to that, you know, in the event that that happens. I hope it doesn't happen, but in the event that that does happen, you know, you have to pivot. But trying to stay prepared on that front in terms of your children, in terms of their care, in terms of backup support, you're gonna really need that. So I would say get ahead of that and make sure that is a top priority, something that you and your partner mutually agree on, whoever this person or persons will be, to, you know, help you with the kids while they're away. So number 9 would be to connect with the military or connect with the ombudsman in some kind of way, making sure that you are on board in some type of way while your spouse is away or deployed. So, and what I mean by that, let me be specific when I say connect with the military. So if there is an ombudsman on the ship, you want to make sure that you have their email address. You want to make sure that you are connected with the ship's Facebook page, or if your spouse is in another branch of the military, you know, if there's some way for you to connect with him or her while they're away, you want to make sure that you are doing that, because that's going to be important. That, you know, that liaison while your partner is away is super important. So I don't have much to say about that other than I highly recommend that as well. And number 10 is my favorite, and that is plan for a reconnection. Okay, so this is something that I really love. Can you tell? Okay, so me and my husband, we love to plan for what we're gonna do when he returns, because that gives me something to look forward to. It gives him something to look forward to, and it's always really, really fun to prepare for that along the way as well. You know what I mean? So like, we'll say, oh, when we get back, you know, we're gonna plan for this date night, or we're gonna go on this vacation, we're gonna take the kids here, we're gonna do this or do that, you know, just planning to reconnect, even if it's not like a big vacation or whatever, you know, just planning a special time, a special moment for whenever they return and come home is super important, and it's so special. It keeps your spirits high. It gives you something to look forward to. And also for the kids, you know, make sure the kids are planning something for their dad or their mom to come back home. Make sure that they are, you know, writing a little card, or have a sign and a banner ready to go, or a gift or something. It doesn't have to be anything that is extravagant or, you know, takes a lot of money to do, but it's of course the thought that counts. But it keeps you invested, and it keeps you motivated, I guess you would say, to carry on, to get to that mark, to get to that day. You can't wait. It keeps you excited to get to that day of their return. So alright, beauty, so that's all I have right now for this video. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If this video was helpful, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, share this video with someone if this video was helpful. And if you are not a beauty, make sure that you subscribe to the channel to become a beauty. Okay, we are all about motherhood and self-care over here, and I am on a mission to grow a community of beauties who are also about self-care and motherhood and balance and life and all of those things. And I hope that you join. I hope that you become a beauty. Okay, as a matter of fact, go ahead and become a beauty. Go ahead and subscribe, girl. Leave me some comments down below if you have any questions about deployment. If you like this video, comments, let me know, let me know, let me know, let me know down here, girl. Let me know. All right, and until the next video, I'll see you next time. Bye, beautiful.